Welcome back to the channel, as I got a really fun episode for you, as we're going to be taking a look at the consensus of Big Board Top 100, as Austin Mock, and awesome name by the way, and Nick Bumgarner put together a basically a top 100 big board for the 2023 NFL draft based on a bunch of different analysts, evaluators, and whatnot based on their rankings. So we're basically going to see where everyone kind of averages out. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. We will have a Walk the Mock tomorrow, and I released my final linebacker rankings for the 2023 class earlier today, so go ahead, check that out. That's good. We're going to start with the top 10, see how that is, as I guess we'll start with top 6, as really nothing too out of the ordinary. I mean, we see Will Anderson, we see Bryce Young, Jalen Carter, CJ Stroud. For a lot of people, that's top 4 prospects. Given a lot of what's going on with Jalen Carter, the pro day, the arrest warrant earlier this month, or I guess it may have been even before that, but I understand. I mean, I get he might be lower down some people's boards, but in terms of sheer talent, man, he's a top 4, top 3 guy. Bijan Robinson, I'm a little shocked that Bijan's actually this high, because I don't know. For me, I always try to take into consideration positional value when it comes to composing my big board. I think the next thing I'm actually pretty interested in is see where the next quarterbacks come off the board here. But yeah, Bijan, this is pretty high. Apparently his average is about position 8.5, so 8 or 9. I think he's a little bit further down on my big board just because running back's such a devalued position. Myles Murphy, it's nice to see that cat still up there. Can't wait for his pro day. That'll be in April, beginning of April. He's going to have a private workout, so I'm excited for that. Unfortunately, he had the tweak hamstring at the combine and was still rehabbing it at Clemson's pro day. Quentin Johnston making it up here in the top 10. You're going to notice I kind of glazed by Peter Skoronski, but like no one thinks Peter Skoronski's bad. That's the thing. It's just when it comes to Peter Skoronski, either you're going to be viewing him as a guard, you're going to be viewing him maybe as you may view him as guard, or you're going to view him as a versatile offensive lineman. Like, oh no, I totally would be willing to give this guy the shot at tackle. I don't think anyone's exclusively looking at Skoronski like a tackle, and that's why he's probably not my top tackle in this class. Jackson Smith and Ajigba, but it's surprising to see there was 2 receivers in the top 10 here in terms of median. But I mean, that just goes to show you, after kind of like the top 4 guys, that everyone's kind of a bit everywhere when it comes to these prospects. It wouldn't surprise me if Tyree Wilson moved up to the 7 or 6 spot when it's all said and done. I can imagine he's very high on a lot of people's boards, but I don't think anything too surprising. I mean, I'm going to be pumping up Myles Murphy after I'm probably going to wait till his pro day to release my edge rankings, because I just want some confirmation on some of the things that we believe about Myles Murphy, and that'll kind of like pin down, is he like edge 2, 3 in this class, or is he more edge 5? So yeah, we'll see about that. Let's go ahead to 11, being Paris Johnson. For a lot of people, the top tackle in this class. We haven't seen a corner yet, by the way, and we're actually going to see a few of them in a bunch here, as Michael Mayer is still way up here. I can't imagine. Well, this is all after the combine and stuff, so that is interesting. I imagine Michael Mayer, as you can see, average position on big boards is 17. I imagine he might even be a little lower than that now, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Again, this is taking into consideration a lot of people's boards, but you see Joey Porter, Christian Gonzalez, no Devon Witherspoon just yet. But for a lot of people, Porter and Gonzalez are kind of like consensus top 3 corners in this class. We see Addison. Some people have Addison fallen pretty far. Some I feel like I've always been in that 20 area with him, and I really think he's going to have a stellar pro day, a good bounce back pro day, I should say, off of the combine, because the combine was dealing with a back strain. Cam Smith being the next corner in there is surprising, though. I wonder where Devon Witherspoon is, but Cam Smith had a very good pro day as well. No second quarterback yet till right here. I said second, but third quarterback. And who would have thought they're pretty close to one another? Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, everyone's kind of all over the place when it comes to them as prospects. Either you love them or you hate them. I'm kind of in between on Will Levis with Anthony Richardson. I feel like if I'm an NFL team, I'm willing to swing on the upside that is Richardson. And then we see Brian Brazee up there as defensive interior 2. I'm kind of curious the closer we get to the draft where he may fall. As you can see, he's kind of like his current, what do they call it? Average draft position, ADP, just like fantasy football, is currently 22. Brian Branch doesn't surprise me. It's at 23. I feel like he's probably going to be a guy. I don't know. Something tells me he's not going to go in the top 20. I don't know. We'll see. Here's Jahmyr Gibbs. So this, I guess a lot of people have running backs a bit higher than at least I would have running backs. So we see Gibbs here at 20 average draft position, or I guess average position on a big board, 26. Well, I'm gonna tell you, he ain't there for me, but I am one of those guys that are pretty low on running back value. Dude, for me, Bijan's like in the top 20, but like we're talking like 15 to 17 area. And we're talking about one of the best running back prospects since Saquon Barkley. That's just how I view running backs at this point and time. Broderick Jones, that next tackle, finally coming out here. Average place on a big board, 31. That is interesting. Let's keep this going. It's Keely Ringo. I'm actually shocked not to see him a bit further. Devon Witherspoon, I imagine, would have been so higher. Because, like, keep in mind, like, this was compiled just about a little less than a week ago. So it's not like it should be that far off. Like, the combine was well in the rearview mirror at this point. So we got average spot on a big board being 35. So it's kind of wild. Ringo being higher than him actually really surprises me because it feels like a lot of people are exceptionally low on Ringo. Nolan Smith here at 25. Average place on a big board, 35. Trenton Simpson, first linebacker here, which kind of makes sense. I'm kind of curious how the linebackers fall. We'll see like Drew Sanders, Jack Campbell. I feel like the consensus isn't that high on Dion Henley. So we'll kind of see where he's at. We see Colton Kincaid over here, average spot on a big board, about 38. Foskey, 36, man. That's higher than I expected because you never see that guy go in first-round mocks. And then Antonio Johnson, I imagine, is going to be a bigger faller. The tested numbers just were worse than what people initially would have imagined and just didn't come out as like a guy that moves all too well, not fast, not explosive, not no strength. So really didn't come out the combine looking good. As now we kind of see the next bit of offensive tackles kind of jump off here as we see Dwan Jones, Darnell Wright, Anton Harrison. So for a lot of people that probably in agreement of that. Osiris Torrance here, average spot on a big board, 40. Wow, that's very interesting. But he's top interior for a lot of people. Here's BJ Ojulari. I feel like people are pretty mixed up. I feel like Ojulari should be a first rounder. I was a big fan of Z's. I'm a big fan of BJ. I know, stupid joke. But, man, is it good enough to get him in the 30s? I'm kind of curious where I think he's inside the top 30 on my big board. Pretty confident of that. Lucas Van Ness, they list him here as, defensive interior. Okay, he's more so an edge. But, yeah, wow, man. I really expected him to be higher of a riser, man, because I thought he was really building up steam prior to the draft. But having him here at 35, then we start getting those the next wide receivers here. Josh Downs, Zay Flowers, Kalijah Cansey, average draft or average spot on a big board, 47. And I feel like that's kind of accurate. Deontay Banks. So Ringo being ahead of Banks for me is pretty interesting. There's Will McDonald. I know he has a lot of fans. He's kind of this, I feel like his stock and how people are viewing him are very similar to like Arnold Ebiketie of last season, or at least in my opinion. Darnell, like nothing too out of, I think, that's too crazy yet. We see Darnell Washington here. They list Drew Sanders from Alabama, but he's actually from Arkansas. If you don't know Drew Sanders, shoot, go watch my video. I talk about it. But Drew Sanders was at Alabama his first 2 seasons before transferring to Arkansas. Wonder how far Luke Musgrave is. So average position on big boards inside the top 40 for Washington. Drew Sanders being the next linebacker. Here's Felix Anudike-Uzomah. I know a lot of people that have trouble projecting where they have him on their board because a lot of people really like him, but they don't really see him as a consensus first. More of maybe a fringe first, but absolutely an early to mid second. So definitely in that top 50 area. There's Emmanuel Forbes, which average position on a big board 53. That doesn't surprise me after coming in weighing 166. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. I kind of expected Steve Avila to be a bit higher here, as we still don't see him, but I see John Michael Schmitz, and I thought Avila maybe surpassed JMS's stock here. But Musgrave, average draft position 55, 56. Mozzie Smith being that next interior. Oh, we haven't seen my boy Eddie Tomiwa. I wonder how far he is. I swear he better be inside the top 100. Clark Phillips is an interesting name here. I mean, Hyatt, we know a lot of people have different opinions about Hyatt, but let's talk about Clark Phillips real quick, as he is a prospect everybody loves. However, because of the size, may view him as maybe a slot only, that he tends to fall on a lot of people's big boards. That just seems to be the case. Bergeron being the next tackle here. I don't imagine we're going to see a tackle for quite some time. Depending on Duncan, Jalen Duncan, I feel like this is the next tackle off the board. Gervon Dexter, people are still pretty high on him. For me, just the lack of production has kind of been a bit of concern. Like 8% pass rush win rate is just not good. I don't think that warrants a top 50, top 75 selection. But you could make a good case about Siaki Ika, his production this past season not being that good. And then, in all honesty, the testing wasn't that impressive either. Here's Derek Hall, another guy a lot of people like, but in a stacked edge class, it's pretty hard to rank him. Devon A-Chain being the third running back. Ooh, expected to see Charbonnet. They list Cody Mock here as a tackle, but I'm pretty sure he's probably an interior player in the NFL in terms of his projection. There's Jack Campbell here. It's gonna be. I'm very curious who will be the top linebacker off the board. I don't think we'll see a linebacker in the first round though. And here's Sam Laporta. A lot of people really do love this dude's receiving capabilities in terms of how, like, he's a solid route runner, but it's really what he can do after the catch, man. 24 missed tackles this past season. Andre Carter, I feel like that cat's going to fall a bit further, but about 66, 67 on most big boards. There's my boy at Tamewa here at 60, but average position about 67. Y'all know me, man. I got him in the top 30, man. I love at a Tamiwa, at a Bari. Zach Charbonnet being running back 4. I'm curious who running back 5 is, because this is where things get kind of crazy. Tajay Spears. We could talk about other guys like Zach Evans. We could talk about Chase Brown. You could throw Dwayne McBride, Keandre Miller. You got Tank Bigsby, Deuce Vaughn. You have Sean Tucker. There's just a lot of guys that could fill in that role. It's good to see Jordan Battle here. Oh, okay, here's Steve Avila. But it's good to see Jordan Battle. I think he's probably a back end of the second, early third round pick. Avila, I think, is going to go a lot higher than this. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I think he could. I wouldn't be surprised if he snuck into round 1. like Avila had kind of that good of a season and that good of a draft process. We got Toi Peloto. He's such a tweener. I imagine him falling. Zach Harrison's pretty high up here. Average draft position for Rashee Rice here at 68.2. For me, I'm not in love with the lack of separation this guy gets. He almost seeks out contact during the route. Zach Harrison being this high, I guess it's a little surprising, but I mean, I imagine he's going to test really well at his pro day. Jalen Duncan, I'm not a big fan. I think he's kind of an overhyped prospect, but I understand why people like him. Yo, freaking Tanner McKee. Let's go, dude. Quarterback 5 for a majority of people. That's what I like to see. Average position on a big board, 70. That doesn't surprise me. Noah Sewell feels a bit high. I feel like Noah Sewell's kind of had a rough go of it the last season and a half, just in terms of the coverage prowess, his pants, the missed tackles are a concern and whatnot. I am a bit surprised to see Kayshon Boutte still way up here. Tyreek Stevenson feels so low. Overall draft position overall position on a big board, 74. That feels so low. But here's Garrett Williams. Garrett Williams, man, this dude probably should be a second round pick. Just the unfortunate instance of, hey, ACL injury, can't take part in the off-season draft process. Kind of hurt him. Keon White, I'm going to admit, is lower than I expected. I feel like the general draft community is pretty high on him. Eli Ricks, this feels about accurate. Kayshon Boutte. I don't know, man. He's didn't have a great season, and then on top of all the behind-the-scenes stuff, bad workouts, not a great combine testing numbers, I feel like his stock is definitely early day 3 at this point. Hendon Hooker here at 74, average draft position, 74. I believe it. You got Tucker Kraft, Cedric Tillman, Marvin Mims. I'm so freaking happy Mims still has all this love. I am shocked Henry To'oTo'o, though, still has all this love. I feel like he's firmly a day 3 guy. I'm not saying he pulled a Dylan Moses and just the stocks completely crashed, but I'm surprised Dion Henley isn't higher than a guy like To'oTo'o or even Noah Sewell at this point. But we do see Henley here at 80, average spot on a big board, 80. Caillou Blue Kelly, I'm curious to see what other safeties make the list. They list Julius Brents here as a safety. Don't know about that one. JL Skinner, I feel like is going to fall. Just from the torn pectoral. Bit of a tweener. You're a linebacker, you're a safety. You lost weight before going to the Senior Bowl. You assumed, okay, safety, but with his type of movement skills, it's probably should be a linebacker. It's good to see Blake Freeland still pretty high. I was pretty high on him after the season, well, even before the season, and then just didn't have a great Senior Bowl, man. Again, a guy that by no means is a day 1 starter. I think he's got to add some play strength, but I don't know. We'll see. Sidney Brown's pretty low here, though. I thought he'd be much higher and much further away from Chris Smith, who, man, his pro day wasn't great. Byron Young, dude. People just love Alabama defensive interior players. Here's Zach Evans, Tank Dell, Andrew Voorhees coming off the injury. Zach Pickens. See, this is what I mean, man. I'm curious what do these final 10 look like. Dell, I'm exceptionally higher on, but we had such a huge I was gonna say a huge drop off from receivers, but not really. They're just higher on receivers. I'm a bit lower on Rice. I mean, this is about the spot I have Mims. I do have Tillman a bit lower. But I don't know. That's interesting. Let's check out this final 50. I really hope Voorhees still goes in round 2. He could have been a day 2. He could have been a day 2 pick in 2022. Decided to stay, try to win with the Trojans. He felt good about them heading into the 2022 season. And unfortunately, an injury prior to the bowl game kept him out the remainder of the year because he was like, oh, I could play through this, but let me get healthy. So I'm at my tippy top for the combine, and combine comes around and tears his ACL. Man, it just sucks. Zach Pickens here doesn't surprise me. I'm just with Pickens. I wish he was like, he's a guy with great high-end reps. It's just consistency is such a problem. Keanu Benton's a lot lower than I expected. Travius Hodges-Tomlinson's actually a lot higher than I expected. I thought he was a guy that would for sure fall out the top 5 just because of sucky height. Luke Whippler's here. I'm a bit higher on him than that. DJ Turner. This is just a good corner class. Datavion Wicks, man. I'm shocked that people are this high on him. Oh, now the receivers start coming through here. So we end the list off with Tank Bigsby. Anyone up here? No. All right, so we got Wicks. I feel like he's more day 2. Tipman, I feel like he's gonna be a lot higher now. A lot of people are coming around to Tipman. Tyler Steen, depending on how you project him, guard safe or guard tackle. Here's A.T. Perry, Parker Washington, Tank Bigsby. Still a ton of great running backs that didn't sneak into here, but Parker Washington being a very nice after the catch slot player. A.T. Perry being that prototypical X size. Wicks is also kind of a slot player, but really good size on Wicks. But I do feel like that's a bit high for him, but I don't know. So this is apparently the consensus big board. So let's read some of this here. Northwestern defensive lineman Aditomo Adibari moved up 27 spots, was a big riser, which is no surprise considering how well he performed at the combine. What other things do they have to say here? Deion Banks was another big riser, moved up 26 spots. Cansey moved up 22. Laporta 22. Wow, Sidney Brown, I said I felt was low, and they have him up 14 spots. Let's check out the fallers. Siaki Ika moved down 20. Butte only moving down 19 is not bad. Chris Smith moving down 19. I feel like, honestly, you could push him maybe even a little bit further if I'm being honest. Oh, look at the comment here. As for Butte, frankly, I'm surprised he didn't fall further. 5'11", 195. Did not have a good combine. 27-inch vert. The 9-foot, 10-inch broad. 4.5 40. The explosive time right here wasn't good, which kind of like brought up like, okay, so he is in fact not that explosive coming off of 2 ankle procedures earlier last year. So yeah, I thought he'd be a bigger faller than that. Let's see, what other things they gotta say here? The most overrated on the big board, Johnston at 19. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is what they list as the most overrated, the biggest snub. Okay, so just 2. So Keon White oh wait, no, most underrated, Keon White at 71. Quentin Johnston overrated? Yo, shut up. I have no idea why so many people are still low on Lucas Van Ness. There's no way Darnell Washington and Luke Musgrave should be down in the 40s. And talks about Jair Brown being the biggest snub, which, I mean, he didn't test out all that well, but, I mean, depending on what you were expecting, if you were expecting a guy that could be a solid split high or box only, then honestly, his testing was kind of what you expected. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead. Do that YouTube thing as always. Till next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.